Rapper NBA Youngboy was arrested and taken into custody. The 21-year-old, whose real name is Kentrell Golden, was wanted on an outstanding warrant. Officers tried to pull him over around 11 a.m. Monday. They say he refused to stop and eventually took off on foot.
NBA Youngboy, aka Kentrell Golden, okay? He was actually allowed to walk out of the St. Martin Parish Correctional Center today after he got his second bond in a week. Youngboy doesn't seem like he's like, yo, let's try to, figure this out. That was an unfortunate incident. Let's get past it. He's pretty much saying he's rolling up packs.
Damn, bro, this won't smoke with everybody, bro. If they with him just a tad bit, it's you.
He doesn't even know for sure. He doesn't even know for sure if somebody doesn't like him, and it's just automatically him. What the? Like, dude, he played that song where we talking about looking in the mirror and thinking to himself he want to do better for his kids or some shit like that, and then he goes to this. What happened?
Stop the violence. Hey, look at me. I can promise you it's a bigger side of life. Stop the violence.
I'm going to boom them on camera. On camera, live. Just want to bring the top up. Say, bro, man, you niggas irrelevant, and I said what I said, bro. You niggas need a nigga like me to keep you going.
We gotta get NBA Youngboy about that house. He been on house arrest too long. And they say once rappers start painting their nails, their music is never the same.
I just never thought, I promise you, Youngboy is the last rapper I thought would do this.
On March 23rd, Youngboy was arrested on his second charge in a 5-month span and found himself sitting in jail fighting 2 federal cases and 5 to 10 years behind bars. And things weren't looking good for him. In October, he caught a break when the judge approved his release to serve house arrest in Utah while waiting his trial, and he was granted a $1.5 million bail. Now, the average rapper stuck on house arrest in Utah, fighting 2 federal cases, would lay low and try to stay out of any type of negative headlines. But this is NBA Youngboy we're talking about. So what did he do? Literally the complete opposite. He dropped diss after diss, went on social media rants, and declared war against the whole industry. In a span of a year and a half from his release to the present day, he dropped a total of 10 projects, and on top of all the beefs, disses, social media antics, and music, he was still finding time to go viral for things completely unrelated to any of this. So in this video, we'll take a look at the story of NBA Youngboy's time on house arrest. Youngboy has been in and out of the system for years, but his current legal troubles started back in 2020 when he and 15 other people were arrested on drug and firearm charges in Baton Rouge. Youngboy and his homies were shooting a video in their neighborhood, and for some reason, they felt the burning need to show real straps in it, even though Youngboy and 3 others in the group were convicted felons. The neighbors saw them outside and called the police, and when they showed up, they found illegal firearms and substances as well as cash, and Youngboy and his homies were arrested. He was later released, but the feds used the incident to begin building a case, and in March of 2021, they issued a warrant for his arrest, and FBI agents along with LAPD went to arrest him. When they pulled him over, he had a strap in the car, and after he got out, he tried to do the dash, but was eventually caught and arrested, and the police found the strap in the car, landing him a second federal case on top of the previous one from 2020. After the March incident, things were looking bad. Youngboy was locked up, facing 5 to 10 years, and the judge was denying him bond. In October, he caught a break when the judge granted him bail under the condition that he bought a house in Utah where he would remain on house arrest until both of his trials were over. Youngboy started his house arrest cooling, and for the first 2 months, nobody really heard anything from him. He was just grinding, making music, and staying to himself. The only attention he really put on himself during this time was releasing some photos of him with his face painted, which drew some strong negative reactions, but it lined up to his new emo rockstar obsession, and most just took it as something YB ended up doing out of boredom because he was stuck in the house. In December, he hopped on Clubhouse to have a 3-hour conversation with DJ Akademiks. He seemed to be in a calm mental state and said he was tired of going to jail, didn't really have any problems with anyone, and just wanted to be left alone. He did end up taking some subliminal shots at Vaughn, who had lost his life the previous year in an incident that had escalated from them beefing over the previous 2 years. He also confirmed what everybody already knew about most of the industry siding with Durk over him when he told Ak that he wasn't rocking with people he had previously worked with before, like Lil Baby and Young Ace. Following his conversation with Ak, he dropped his first project since being released, which was a collab album with Birdman called From the Bayou. Youngboy had been doing good staying out of controversy, but in mid-December, he started slipping back into his old ways. And the first person to provoke him wasn't even a rapper, it was a Twitch streamer. Somehow, a situation ended up occurring where Adin Ross, a popular Twitch streamer, was somehow convinced that an NBA Youngboy fan page that had liked his girl's picture was really YB himself trying to get at her through a burner.
With that, Youngboy's burner liked the picture.
As a result, Adin hopped on an IG Live with YB's baby mama Jania and tried to put her on with one of his friends, but ended up flirting with her himself. YB, who was sitting around on house arrest with nothing else to do, saw this and decided to hop on the song to respond. Then he dropped a snippet.
Stop playing with me, niggas ain't laying like that, you know them gunners laying with me, bitch. I ain't got no Instagram, no social media, I wasn't talking to your bitch.
YB didn't really say anything crazy, he was just addressing the situation and telling Adin not to play with him. But a month after this incident, YB decided to make a diss record that was not nearly as lighthearted. On January 12th, Youngboy dropped a song called Bring the Hook, where he dissed King Von with lyrics about rolling up an O-Block pack, and the internet went crazy. Most of the big reaction channels covered it, the fans were talking, and several rappers responded. Durk posted a picture with a poster of King Von, telling YB to stop speaking on Von since he wasn't the one who did it to him. Then Reese responded to one of Akademiks' tweets about YB, and NLE decided to hop in and co-sign. Youngboy, who was home with nothing to do, made another diss song titled Know Like I Know, this time aimed at NLE Choppa and Lil Durk, saying they would get whacked too, and he even went out his way to spell out a message with money directed towards them, and Durk responded with a message of his own. All of the dissing and social media antics were basically promotion, and Youngboy dropped his Colors project the next Friday and did 80,000 first week. Durk had been active on social media, but he had been waiting to officially respond on the song until he had an album of his own to promote. His response came on February the 22nd when he dropped a song called Aha, where he took shots at Youngboy, saying he wasn't really like that, brought up his baby mama, and told him to stop speaking on Von. Youngboy, with obviously nothing to do, was literally waiting on something like this to happen, and he immediately hopped in the studio, and less than 24 hours later, dropped a response titled I Hate Youngboy, where he dissed Durk's fallen cousin Newski, Durk's girlfriend India, and Durk's father Big Durk. But he didn't just diss Durk and people around him, he took shots at multiple rappers as well. Lil Baby and Durk are known to be good friends, so he dissed him as well. Then he dissed Gucci Mane for simply doing a song with Durk, and he even dissed Boosie, a man who had embraced Youngboy and gave him advice because in YB's words, he felt like Boosie didn't like him. This wasn't it either. He dissed Apple Music because they promoted Durk and felt like they were blackballing him and Quando. Then he dissed every YouTube reaction channel who reacted to Aha. These two disses had the internet buzzing, especially Youngboy, who had declared war on the whole industry, But following these two songs, Durk used the attention to promote his album, and afterwards, this situation fizzled out. Gucci Mane dropped a response to Youngboy called Publicity Stunt, and this is exactly what the whole situation was. Two millionaire rappers thousands of miles away trading disses on music and social media. Everything was obviously for show. A real gangster trying to get someone knocked off wouldn't be spelling it out with money for millions of people to see. They would have put it on Durk's head and kept things quiet. Following this situation, Youngboy chilled out a little. In March, he teamed up with DaBaby to drop a collab project that no one was really asking for called Better Than You that didn't really do too well. On July 12th, YB's case for the strap he was caught with in California began, and the whole world tuned in to see what would happen. Nobody was sure how it would go. Many were optimistic and felt like the prosecution didn't have much, but at the same time, YB had been caught with a strap in the car, and they had a video of him holding one that was identical to it, which seemed like a lot of evidence. From Tuesday through Friday, he showed up in court and people reported on the case. Then on July the 15th, it was announced that he was found not guilty, and his team, along with fans everywhere, celebrated.
Not guilty!
His lawyers were able to argue that although they had found a pole in his car, because YB's fingerprints and DNA weren't on it, it wasn't his. Then they explained away the video of him with it by convincing the jury that it was an identical airsoft replica. YB was able to walk away from the case with no time, but he still had to remain on house arrest for the case he had caught in Louisiana. A month after the trial, Youngboy fans had more good news because he announced that he was dropping the last Slimedo and was finally out of his Atlantic deal. For the past couple of years, YB had made it very clear that he had problems with them and the way they did business with them, so getting out of this deal was big. He had been dropping frequently before, and the last Slimedo was his third album of the year, but after he was out of his deal, he began dropping at a crazy rate, putting out 13 to 15 song projects basically every month. The last Slimedo dropped August 5th, then September 7th he dropped Realer 2, October 7th he dropped 3800 Degrees, and literally 2 weeks later, on October 21st, he dropped Hey Ma, I Got a Family. Then November 25th, he dropped 3860. Despite all the music he was recording, YB still had time for social media antics. In October, a situation popped off where Drewski made a joke about his baby mama, and YB didn't find it funny and threatened him through his label account. The situation wasn't much of a big deal, but it did result in a hilarious YB IG live appearance on Drewski's Coulda Been Records show, where Drewski was either doing an amazing job acting to make the situation funnier or genuinely nervous. Following the Drewski situation, YB had a situation with No Cap, an artist on his own Never Broke Again label, where No Cap answered the fans' questions about why he wasn't doing music with Youngboy, causing Youngboy to type a whole paragraph attacking No Cap. No Cap defended himself and basically accused NBA Youngboy of being fake, and this caused Youngboy to go on a huge social media rant, spazzing on him, saying he was disloyal and a bunch of other things. Around the same time, YB went viral for painting his nails and rocking a casket chain. This fit in line with this new emo rockstar obsession, but it had the internet in a frenzy, with a lot of people accusing him of selling out or just wondering what could possibly be going through his head.
We gotta get NBA Youngboy up out that house. He been on house arrest too long. And they say once rappers start painting their nails, their music is never the same.
Around the end of 2022, YB appeared to have a change of heart from his previous ways and started a new Stop the Violence campaign.
Stop the violence. Hey, look at me. I could promise you it's a bigger side of life. Stop the violence.
But early on to this change, YB was tested when he once again found himself in internet friction. It started when Roddy Rebel did an interview and spoke on the passing of King Von and gave his take on the situation.
When King Von died, Lil Tim, he didn't have to get out the car and start squeezing right away. You already got your joint. Yo, back the fuck up, what y'all doing with? Yeah, back with my bro real quick. Right. For me, like.
For some reason, YB felt like chiming in, and he made a post clearly aimed at Roddy Rebel, but still continued his new Stop the Violence campaign. Bobby Shmurda, who's basically like a brother to Roddy Rebel, saw this post from YB as a good opportunity to get some clout and attention, so he responded with a video of his own.
Hey, though, be jacking everybody other shit. What you doing? What you doing, homie? Tell me about your brother's shooters and your brother's this. You always with your brother that. What the do you do? Huh? When you're gonna finally do something?
And YB, who was probably sitting around the house bored, responded to this response from Bobby Shmurda.
Damn, what's crazy? I ain't even say this perm having bitch name. Nigga just wanna bring it top up. Say, bro, man, you irrelevant, and I said what I said, bro. You just need a nigga like me to keep you going. I ain't doing no falling around this bitch, nigga. This flunk ass nigga want another nigga to jump out the truck and punk fake and then get shot in his face. Man, you sound stupid as the man. You niggas dumb, man. Say, bro, I don't want no problem with you, man. Stay the fuck out my way or dang, man. Stop the violence like I said, man.
With all this new attention, Bobby decided to take things to the extreme and went live once again, talking about booming YB the next time he saw him.
Anyway, long story short, I was even talking about you, but you got yourself some. You know what I'm saying? You got yourself some. I make my money anyways. I make $100,000 a week. I still do this. You know what I'm saying? Still do this while I'm being blackballed. I don't about no grown ass man. I'm in here for money. But when I catch y'all little or DJ Akademiks, everybody, bro, any I catch like whack, any I can record this. I'm going to boom them on camera. On camera, live, on parole. I don't give a f. Gonna boom when he's on camera.
Obviously, no one took this seriously. The man was pushing 30, just came home from a 7-year bid, and was talking about booming somebody over an Instagram beef. Not to mention, this was the same rapper at a concert doing this. YB handled these threats in a mature way, laughing the situation off, and continuing to push his new Stop the Violence campaign.
No, Bobo, that bitch wanna kill me now, Bobo. That bitch wanna kill me now, no. Say, bro, look, check this out. Look, man, I got it. Man, hey, you ain't gotta worry about trying to harm you, son. And you ain't gonna touch me. I got security, man. I'm paid, son. I'ma stay the fuck out your way and hope you don't get too close. Man, these crazy niggas wanna kill the slam. Man, you should've just mind business, man. You tripping. Man, that nigga wanna kill me, man. I ain't even got that type of tick in my heart, man. You tripping, man. Oh, bro, them people let that, hey, man, say that boy came home and them people ain't get that no money, man. That nigga ready to kill a nigga and go back to jail. This nigga don't get not one son. That's f***ed up, man. Say, bro, let's be friends, man. I'll show you how to ball, man. You tripping, man.
In December, YB surprised the world when he announced his new radio show on Amazon AMP. He discussed topics, talked to fans, and it turned out that he was a lot more entertaining than many people gave him credit for. On the 3rd episode, he interviewed Blueface, and the two of them had a really good conversation. Then, in December, he, along with Fredo Bang and others in their camps, made a huge step towards progress when they decided to squash their beef. And YB's older brother, OG3, and other NBA affiliates met up with Fredo Bang and other TBG affiliates to do a gift drive for the kids. It was also reported that although YB couldn't be there, he had a conversation with Fredo Bang on the phone about reaching a truce. Youngboy and Fredo's respective groups, NBA and TBG, had been involved in a deadly conflict for years where both sides had taken a lot of losses, so for them to come together for the kids was huge for the city and took a lot of maturity for everyone involved. The toy drive and conversation between Fredo and Youngboy showed that YB's Stop the Violence campaign was genuine and not just a publicity stunt. Going into 2023, YB appeared to be a more wholesome and mature version of himself. He dropped an album on January the 6th, and it didn't have the usual aggressive songs dedicated to catching bodies that are regular on YB's albums. It was more melodic and rage influenced, with YB hopping on a lot of Yeet and King Carson style beats. On January 9th, he married his baby mama Jaslyn, and about a month later, he appeared on a Billboard interview and said he felt bad for pushing negativity in music for years. Many were skeptical, but him squashing the beef with Fredo and making less violent music proved that he was at least a little serious about this. In late February, he dropped a song called Next, which was the first super violent song he had really dropped in months since the beginning of his Stop the Violence campaign in late 2022. In April, he dropped an album called Don't Try This at Home, which was basically a return to the usual topics. Most recently, in the past weeks, NBA Youngboy seems to have fallen back to square one. He's beefing with Durk on social media, and this time Akademiks has been dragged into the situation. Although the two were cool for years, and Akademiks has interviewed Youngboy multiple times, a situation happened where Akademiks was discussing Durk, sneak dissing a random person, and fans kept bringing up YB, so DJ Akademiks trolled them and said that YB and Durk had squashed the beef.
Hey, look how far they are.
Now that beef is squashed. You ain't here?
Yo, Ak,
I'm
you
serious.
crazy.
Dirk and
Yeah,
Youngboy
I
don't
forgot
got beef
Youngboy,
no more.
bro.
I'm serious.
Imagine.
Dirk and I might have forgot to tell the public that Dirk and Youngboy don't got beef no more.
Media outlets took the clip and ran with it, and Durk ended up liking one of these posts. Despite the fact that Akademiks was one of the few people in hip-hop who had always been cool with him, YB felt like Akademiks was siding with Durk and called him a bitch on his burner Twitter account. And this was basically the end of any type of friendship or business relationship that they had. On May 7th, Lil Durk posted this tweet, which many took as a diss to NBA Youngboy, because Youngboy is known for being the king of YouTube, and Durk is saying he gets played everywhere, not just YouTube. Most likely as a response, Youngboy announced that he was dropping an album on May 12th, the same day as Durk, and later went on Twitter to diss Durk, his girl, and Akademiks, and also went live to preview new music. While he was live, he previewed a song where he referred to laying someone's head on a pillow if they play with him, which many believe is a diss aimed at Fredo Bang's homie, the real G Money, whose head was reportedly laid on a pillow while paramedics were working on him. Fredo Bang made a tweet saying watch your mouth, which is widely believed to be him responding to this diss. So any type of truce they had is most likely over. This brings us to the present day, and throughout YB's whole time on house arrest, nothing seems to have changed. He started out dissing and dropping a ton of music, and a year and a half later, he's still doing the same thing. His current actions in music make the Stop the Violence campaign seem like some type of ploy, but for the time period, his music did get less violent, and his brother and homies were face to face with Fredo Bang without anything happening, which shows that even if it didn't last, it wasn't completely fake. Currently, YB is still on house arrest and waiting for his court date, and there's no telling what the future holds. But whatever happens, YB will continue to be YB, and his fans will continue to love him for it.